Hello lovelies. Welcome to Emma's Tales. Please subscribe and leave a like for us. It means the world to us. Also, share this video with your loved ones and turn on post notifications so you don't miss future videos from us. Thank you as you do so. Sit back and relax as we dive into this story. My landlord's fist hit the door so hard the peephole spider webbed. 5 minutes, Cassandra. 5, he roared, voice bouncing off the cinderblock hallway. You and that kid are done freeloading. The hallway light flickered, a dying neon exit sign coughing blue strobe over cracked paint. Behind me, Milo, my 9-year-old, rocked on his heels and hummed the Space Rangers theme song under his breath. He pressed the backs of his hands to his ears the way he always did when the world got too loud. Rain rattled the stairwell window like someone throwing gravel from the fire escape. I tried to breathe slow, square breaths like the therapist taught us. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. But my heart was sprinting and the numbers kept sliding around. Mr. Branson, I shouted through the dented metal door. Please, it's after midnight. My son. For minutes, he barked, kicking the bottom panel for punctuation. Milo flinched. His hum rose to a thin keen. I crouched, hands on his shoulders. It's okay, buddy. Remember the breathing game. He shook his head, curls sticking to tear-wet cheeks. Need my headphones. Need blanket. We'll grab them. I promise. I stood and yanked the thrift store suitcase from under our fold-out couch. One wheel was gone, the handle duct-taped. I stuffed in the essentials. Blue and green weighted blanket, 4 pounds, stitched by my sister before she died. Noise-cancelling headphones, batteries at 12% but better than nothing. 2 pill bottles, risperidone for Milo, naproxen for my busted wrist. The letter from State Mutual denying my workers' comp claim because video footage was inconclusive. A half-eaten bag of pretzel sticks. My nursing shoes, split soles, but I kept them clean in case another clinic called me back. 3 minutes. I flicked off the single lamp and my gaze snagged on the kitchen doorway, where a trail of water still glimmered across the linoleum. An hour ago a delivery kid, maybe 18, rain plastering black hair to his forehead, had swayed onto my welcome mat, eyes glassy. He never spoke, just pointed to his throat and then to the sky as thunder cracked. Mute, I guessed. Or terrified. I'd heated leftover curry, watched him inhale it, watched the color slide back into his cheeks. Mr. Branson passed the open door, saw the scene, and his face pinched like a bulldog's. Strangers break leases. Squatters break property value. He'd been itching for an excuse to toss us since I missed rent after the insurance mix-up. 2 minutes. Mom. Milo's voice was pin-thin. It smells like buzzing in here. He meant the fluorescent hum. When he's overloaded, sensations tangle, sounds become smells, colors taste bitter. I scooped the headphones over his ears. We're escaping the buzzing now, okay? Adventure time. Grab Dino. He dove for the chipped toy tyrannosaur on the coffee table, then clutched my thigh so hard his nails bit skin through my scrubs. 1 minute. Mr. Branson's key rattled in the lock. 30 seconds, or I call the cops. The door swung inward. The hallway's stale bleach stench swept in with him. He wore flannel pajama pants and a parka, like eviction was a sport requiring both comfort and armor. Out, he said, jutting a thumb. You harbor strangers. You lose tenancy. Simple math. Give me until morning, I begged. You know I work doubles at County General. I can give you half the arrears Friday. Clocks out of mercy, Cassandra. He stomped to the breaker box and threw the apartment into darkness. Milo wailed. I flicked on my phone flashlight, and Mr. Branson immediately slapped it from my hand. It skittered under the couch. I felt something snap inside me. Not loud, more like fabric tearing. I grabbed Milo's hand, hold the suitcase upright. The doorframe loomed like a gallows. The hallway light sputtered again, revealing the neighbor's doors cracked open just enough for eyes to peek. Nobody moved to help. Nobody ever does at 2 a.m. in a building one rent hike away from collapse. We shuffled toward the stairs. Mr. Branson followed, muttering about vermin and court costs. Halfway down, Milo's blanket slid from the suitcase mouth. I stooped, lost my grip, and everything toppled. The suitcase burst, scattering meds, sketch pads, loose crayons already melted to waxy nubs. A pill bottle rolled, rattling like maracas against concrete before stopping at Branson's boot. He towed it toward the garbage chute. No! I lunged, wrist shrieking. Milo shrieked louder. Branson only grinned, a slow baring of teeth under fluorescence. You collect your trash outside, he said, and kicked the bottle into the chute. It clanged down, hollow and final. Milo dropped to his knees, rocking, arms locked over his head. The exit door banged open below, wind flinging raindrops inside. Branson jerked his thumb out. I stuffed loose items into the suitcase cavity, scooped my son into a half-carry, half-drag. Each step felt like climbing underwater. Outside, the storm swallowed us. The building's security light burned out last winter, so the parking lot was a smear of shadows. Rain slapped our faces sideways. Garbage bags, our 5-minute allowance of clothes and bed linens, leaned against the dumpster like corpses in plastic shrouds. I grabbed one, felt it tear under the weight of soaked towels. Fine. Leave it. Milo's meltdown crested. He bolted toward the street, arms windmilling. I sprinted after, gravel grinding into my soles. Horns blared, 2, maybe 3 cars skidding past the intersection. My shirt stuck to my spine, the fabric suctioning every breath. I caught him beneath the street lamp. His eyes were pinwheels, pupils huge. Home gone, he gasped. Blanket gone. Buzzing in head. I know, baby, I know. I knelt in the gutter, rainwater up to my ankles. A neon sign from the 24-hour laundromat flickered across the puddles, painting us in sickly pink flashes. We'll find somewhere quiet. But where? Shelters were full. The last bus had left at midnight. My phone, a cheap Paygo, was still under the couch, screen probably cracked. And Mr. Branson? He stood under the awning 3 stories up, hands on hips, watching like a victorious general. Across the lot, headlights bloomed through sheets of rain. An idling delivery van, white, unmarked, back doors yawning. The passenger side opened and the teenage delivery boy stumbled out. Hood soaked, lips trembling. He lifted both hands, palms toward us, and began to sign rapidly. I knew maybe 24 signs, enough to greet a deaf patient politely, but his hands blurred. He spotted my confusion, slowed. Come. Safe. He pointed to the van, then at Milo crumpled in my arms. Help. Trusting strangers had cost me a roof, but the storm pressed like a fist. Milo's shivering turned violent, echolalic fragments of Space Rangers spilled from his lips. I tightened my grip on him, grabbed the suitcase handle with my free hand. It ripped off. The boy jogged forward, unfazed by the downpour, and hefted the suitcase as if it weighed nothing. Up close his face looked too pale, eyes rimmed red from earlier exhaustion. Yet he moved with determination, guiding us. Inside the van warmth hit like a sauna. The cab smelled of cardamom and fresh bread. Milo slid onto the passenger seat, clutching Dino. The boy disappeared to the back and returned with a silver emergency blanket. He draped it over Milo's shoulders, then placed a pair of high-end wireless headphones, my brand, the expensive kind I'd online, gently over his ears. Milo's breathing slowed, shoulders unclenching. I opened my mouth to ask, "Why are you doing this?" But the boy typed something on his phone, screen angled toward me. "I remember your kindness." Before I could answer, he dashed back outside. Through the cracked door I watched him jog to the dumpster, collect our ripped garbage bags, even the spilled crayons glinting neon in gutter water. His boots splashed as he rescued the forgotten fragments of our life. He loaded everything into the van, slammed the doors, then slid behind the wheel. Engine hummed, wipers sweeping arcs of clarity across the windshield. He typed again. You and your son are safe with us. We will talk soon. Us. I glanced into the rearview mirror. The dark cargo hold revealed nothing, yet I sensed movement, another silhouette, maybe the driver. Someone clearing a throat softly. Fear prickled, but exhaustion outweighed it. The boy tapped the dash screen. Soft harp music floated, volume barely above rain. Milo leaned toward the speaker, eyelids drooping. A cautious calm blossomed in my chest, the fragile peace of crisis postponed. I peered out my window one last time. Mr. Branson still under his awning, phone to ear, mouth twisted around words I couldn't hear. Then the van pulled away, tires hissing through standing water, and the building shrank into a gray smear. As we merged onto the avenue, street lamps turned the downpour into silver strings. The boy signed something small. Trust. He pointed ahead where the city lights blurred like distant constellations. I clutched Milo's damp curls and watched the road unravel, a black ribbon leading anywhere but back. Whatever waited beyond the storm, it had to be better than the hallway with the cracked peephole. And somehow, I didn't know how yet, I believed the delivery boy. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Windshield wipers flogged the dark like metronomes gone mad, thwack 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 across glass already slick with city grime. Every sweep revealed a smear of sodium lamps and flooded gutters, then erased it again. Inside the cab, the dashboard glowed a faint glacier blue. Milo slept against me, his small body wrapped in the foil blanket, headphones murmuring surf. Each time the wipers paused, I caught the slow rise of his chest and whispered thanks to whoever might be listening at 2:30 in the morning. The driver hadn't said a word, but he radiated formality. He looked mid-50s, trim beard, black coat buttoned to the throat even though the van's climate control pumped gentle heat. As we merged onto the highway, he tapped the steering wheel twice. Soft, deliberate, then spoke for the first time, voice like polished oak. All secure, sir? Not kid, friend, or Luca, sir. The boy beside him, my silent curry guest, tilted his head, signed something quick. The man inclined his chin, completely unfazed that orders were coming from a teenager who hadn't spoken a syllable. I watched their exchange from the second row, a knot forming behind my ribs. This was no gig economy driver picking up extra runs. This felt more like chauffeur and principal. The seats warmed beneath us, subtle but unmistakable. I hadn't felt heated upholstery since my sister's old Civic before the accident. Milo shifted, tension unwinding. The warmth always helped him regulate. I tucked the edge of the blanket under his chin. A discreet click hissed behind me. Luca swung open a panel in the sidewall, revealing a mini fridge lined with tiny LED strips. Rows of neatly labeled snacks sat upright in molded slots. Gluten-free crackers, almond butter squeeze packs, lactose-free yogurts, juice boxes stamped "No added sugar." Allergy-friendly paradise. Luca glanced back, lifted a brow as if asking permission. I nodded, and he passed me a juice. The carton was chilled to perfection, cap already cracked loose for small fingers. I unscrewed it, guided the straw to Milo's lips. His eyes fluttered halfway open, found the juice, latched on. He sipped without protest, rare when he was spiraling. Something in my chest loosened. I mouthed thank you. Luca offered a small thumbs up, then typed on his phone. Good electrolytes. He lost a lot crying. My shoulders tightened again. How did this stranger know what Milo needed faster than most ER nurses? The driver's eyes flicked to the rear view, met mine briefly. Gray, sharp, assessing. A tiny headset glinted at his ear. I swallowed. My phone, shattered in the apartment, would have been my tether to 911, to anyone. Without it, the dark hummed with worst-case scenarios. Was this trafficking? Some twisted billionaire hobby? The van smelled too clean, leather and cedar, a scent engineered to lower pulses. I forced my own pulse slower and catalogued exits. Only sliding doors and the rear hatch, child locks unknown. My good hand brushed Milo's leg. Silent promise. Luca tapped more words. Name is Luca Sterling. Born non-verbal. Typing easier than signing for many people. Sterling. The name pinged somewhere. Boardwalk advertisements? Shipping trucks? I couldn't grab it. I typed back on his screen. Where are you taking us? He answered with 3 words. To a model. I frowned. He added. Penthouse unit. Empty. Safe. My father kept it for investors. Storm quieted so lights should impress. Investors. Penthouse. My throat pinched. Why us? I whispered, though he couldn't hear. He read lips well enough. He typed, slower this time. I run. Bodyguards chase. Needed anonymity. You gave kindness. Want to repay. Run from bodyguards. If that was true, the formal driver up front meant Luca had stopped running. My mind looped possibilities. Runaway rich kid, trust fund rebel, or something darker. The highway tilted upward toward downtown. Clouds parted like theater curtains, exposing a skyline I'd only ever admired from bus windows on double shifts. One tower dominated, a glass lance, tapering into fog, each floor haloed in smart LEDs that shifted from sapphire to gold as we approached. Somewhere in my mind a realtor's billboard flashed. The Vantage, luxury above the city. Units cost more than my lifetime earnings. The van slowed, turned beneath a porte-cochere so sleek it looked sliced from marble. A doorman in charcoal trench coat stepped forward, umbrella poised, but froze when he recognized our driver. He bowed, actually bowed, and pressed a button. Steel doors slid open to a private bay lit like dawn. I clutched Milo tighter. Luca, I don't understand. He typed while walking, multitasking like he'd done it forever. Father trusts these units to me. Built for visiting executives. Always vacant 90% of time. No one will mind. The lobby swallowed us. White stone floors, living walls of orchids, and at its heart, a 12-foot glass waterfall. Water tumbled in hushed sheets, muffling the world. The hush wrapped Milo first. His shoulders unhooked from his ears, and the corners of his mouth drifted upward. He stepped toward the fall, fingertips grazing the cool mist. Luca shook his head, typed again, handed the phone to the officer. Actually, I own the building, and the mortgage on his house. The words hung like thunder in the humid air. Even the ambulance attendants paused. My lungs forgot how to inflate. The cop reread, slower. You're Sterling. That's Sterling. Luca nodded. Holy. The cop's gaze darted to his partner, suddenly measuring. Sir, we'll need statements, but you're free to proceed as you see fit. The ambulance doors slammed. Branson cursed through oxygen tubes. As paramedics loaded him, one turned to Luca. He'll live. Mild concussion, maybe stitches. I stood on the cracked asphalt, pill bottle clutched to chest, rain peppering my scalp. Power lines dripped like melting licorice. Luca typed one more message, swiveled the screen my way. Your son is safe. Branson will face charges. And you never owe him another cent. The police cruiser's blues flashed off puddles, turning his face alien and angelic by turns. I tried to speak. My mouth opened, but what language covers gratitude, shock, dread of strings still hidden? Reynolds slid a reassuring hand onto my elbow. Take a breath, Ms. Hart, he murmured. The storm's almost over. But storms have eyes, calm centers before second waves. As I watched Branson's ambulance pull away, sirens fading, I felt the world tilt on new axes. One where Luca controlled skyscrapers and slumlords alike. And I, Cassandra Hart, nurse on hiatus, had just stepped into that gravity field. Milo's medication was safe in my pocket. The villain lay cuffed to a gurney. Yet beneath relief coiled bigger questions. What happens when a teenage billionaire decides to rewrite the rules of my life? And what price does kindness fetch in a market run by men like Branson, and boys like Luca Sterling? Blue lights pulsed across my reflection in the van's window, blotting old shadows, painting new ones. Chapter 3 of my night, of my life, was closing, but Dawn was still undecided about what color to wear next. Knees trembling, heart slamming, hopeful and terrified in equal measure, I followed Luca back to the courtesy car and waited to see which storm would break first. The lobby of the Vantage looked nothing like the place we tiptoed through the night before. Floodlights the size of dinner plates blazed from fresh scaffolds. They bounced off marble floors until everything gleamed like wet ice. A forest of cameras grew where the orchid wall had been, their lenses blinking red. Reporters clustered behind velvet rope, badges swinging, caffeinated eyes scanning for spectacle. They smelled it in the air the way gulls smell fishing boats. Milo and I waited just beyond the range of flashbulbs. He burrowed under his weighted blanket, headphones clamped tight, ocean sounds rushing in his ears. Each flash made him flinch, so I turned my body into a shield, arms encircling him like breakwater. All night I'd rehearsed explanations. Why people shove microphones that look like fuzzy caterpillars, but explaining greed to a 9-year-old before breakfast felt impossible. Instead, I tapped a mantra on his knee. Wave comes, wave goes, mom stays. At exactly 9:01 the elevators opened. Luca emerged flanked by Reynolds and 2 aides whose suits fit like they'd been steamed onto bone. Gone were hoodie and raincoat. Today he wore charcoal gray, slim cut, with a lapel pin shaped like a milk drop, his first business ventures logo. Most reporters didn't recognize him. Not yet. To them he was still the mute delivery kid. But the hush that crawled across the crowd said they sensed importance the way animals scent pressure changes before a storm. Luca stopped at the podium. Photographers adjusted iris rings. Television crews raised booms like spears. Reynolds tapped the mic, the rap echoing across stone. "Good morning," he said, voice a measured metronome. "Mr. Sterling will make a statement. He will not take spontaneous questions. For follow-ups, see my office." A few shouted protests. Reynolds ignored them and stepped aside. Luca tapped his phone. The podium speakers bloomed with the smooth synthetic baritone I'd begun to think of as his second heartbeat. "Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for gathering on short notice," the voice said while he signed along. "My name is Luca Miles Sterling, majority shareholder of Sterling Equities and founder of the Eastfield Cares Initiative. Last night, while undertaking an unannounced audit of one of our residential assets, I witnessed behavior inconsistent with our standards." Gasps rippled. Pens scratched. He continued. "Effective immediately, all unilateral evictions conducted by former landlord Wallace Branson are reversed. Rent will be waived for vulnerable tenants for the next 90 days. During that period, we will renovate the property to meet ADA sensory guidelines, expand community health services, and convert 10 units into transitional housing." He paused, raised his eyes, fierce with mischief. "The project is renamed the Cassandra Hart Inclusion Complex, after the nurse whose compassion revealed systemic failures we intend to fix." My knees almost buckled. Reporters' heads snapped toward me, camera lenses tilting like sunflowers chasing light. I shook my head but found myself moving forward, Reynolds's gentle hand at my back. Luca gestured me to the podium. I smelled flashbulb ozone and the adrenal zing of being prey and hero at once. He typed again, phone steady on acrylic. The voice read, "Ms. Hart's lived experience as a parent of a neurodivergent child will guide our new fund for autistic-friendly housing across the state. She has agreed in principle to direct this effort, subject to personal choice." The phrase hung like crystal in bright air. I hadn't agreed, not officially, but my protest drowned in camera clicks. Milo clung to my waist. His blanket trailed, cartoon bear paws soaking marble polish. A lone reporter called, "Ms. Hart, how does it feel to go from eviction to icon overnight?" Microphones shoved forward. Milo whimpered. I bent, pressing headphones tighter, whispered ocean, ocean, think of the beach. Then I straightened. "It feels like safety should never depend on luck," I said, voice cracking. "We have work to do." Flashes burst. Luca nodded, satisfied. Reynolds ushered us aside while staff handed out press packets. Questions ricocheted about funding, lawsuits, political donations. Behind a glass partition, Reynolds led us into a quiet conference suite. The change in decibels was so abrupt Milo's shoulders dropped like sandbags. He crawled onto a couch beneath a skylight, rocking gently. I knelt, offered his chew tube. He bit it, eyes drifting calm. Luca sank into a chair. The transformation from commanding executive to fragile teenager was instant. Hands trembled, breath soared shallow. I crossed the room. Blood sugar? I asked. He nodded. I tore the cap off a juice box, thankful Reynolds always produced one, pressed the straw to Luca's lips. He sipped, eyelids fluttering. Training never leaves you. Airway, breathing, circulation. Fingers to radial pulse. Fast but regular. Blood sugar on a portable meter. 63. Mild hypoglycemia. I ripped open glucose gel, coaxed him to swallow. Color returned. Tears surprised me, hot and embarrassing. Relief felt like weakness I couldn't afford. I turned away, but Luca noticed. He offered a monogrammed handkerchief, LS stitched in silver. I took it with a shaky laugh that sounded too close to a sob. I don't understand any of this, I murmured. He opened his app, letting the synthesized voice speak for him this time. Soft baritone rolling from the phone. I own a portion of this building, it said. 15% personally. The holding company holds the rest. I came tonight to test security anonymously. The phrase test security landed like a stone. He continued typing. I disguised as delivery worker. Got lost in rain. Low blood sugar episode. You saved me. The driver reappeared, holding 2 keycards. Penthouse is fresh, he said to Luca. I stocked hypoallergenic linens as you requested, sir. Sir. Again. I followed in a daze as we crossed the lobby. Elevator doors opened soundlessly. Inside, there were no buttons, only a fingerprint sensor. Luca pressed his thumb. The doors sealed. The carriage whisked upward so smoothly my stomach didn't even dip. As floors blinked past, memories flashed. Mr. Branson lording over rent day, his smirk when Milo's medication clattered into darkness. The contrast scraped my nerves raw. If I believed in cosmic scales, they had swung violently tonight, but favor felt fragile. I kept waiting for the catch. Ding. The doors parted onto a foyer bigger than our entire apartment. Recessed lights breathed awake as we stepped in, illuminating pale hardwood, minimalist furniture in creams and ash grays, windows from floor to forever, framing a city washed clean by the storm. Clouds unfurled like steam, sunrise still hours off, yet downtown glimmered with promise. Milo padded across the floor, bare feet silent. He pressed his face to the glass and giggled, the sound of small bells, at seeing traffic below so tiny you could cover it with a thumb. My heart twisted. Luca hovered by a console, tapping instructions. Drapery glided closed halfway, dimming glare. Then he beckoned me to a hallway. 2 bedrooms branched off. One already glowed soft aquamarine, walls projected with floating jellyfish. A sensory retreat. A queen-size bed wore a weighted duvet printed with nebulae. Noise-masking panels lined the walls. Milo drifted toward it like it generated gravity. He can stay here, I breathed. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. I helped Milo slip beneath the duvet. He curled instantly. Dino clutched like an anchor. The waterfall lobby's hush had primed him. The room's hush finished the job. Within minutes his breaths evened. I closed the door halfway and sagged against the jamb. Tears hit before I could wipe them. 8 hours ago I'd double-checked nurse job boards, praying for an opening. 4 hours ago I'd scraped the last curry from a plastic tub. 1 hour ago I was on a curb holding my screaming child. Now I stood in a palace in the clouds. My knees folded. Luca crouched, eyes wide, alarmed. He offered the handkerchief again. I pressed it to my face. Linen smelled of citrus and something warm like cedar. I should be thanking you, not collapsing, I whispered, throat rasping. He typed, strong people bend, too. A sob laugh broke free. Why me? Because you didn't ask why me when you helped. You just helped. Silence draped over us. HVAC hummed. Somewhere far below, sirens Dopplered. I inhaled the penthouse air, filtered, perfumed faintly with orchid and rain. The driver's voice crackled from the foyer. Mr. Sterling, security pulled footage you requested. Luca motioned. We walked out, my bare feet sinking in area rugs so plush they swallowed sound. A wall panel displayed 4 camera views. 3 of them the alley behind my old building, time-stamped 15 minutes after we'd left. Mr. Branson stomped through puddles, rifle flashlight strapped to his hip. He rummaged through our garbage bag rubble. He held up Milo's second bottle of risperidone, the backup I'd forgotten in the rush, shook it like a maraca, then tucked it into his coat pocket. His mouth formed curses even silent footage couldn't muffle. Another clip. Branson facing the camera directly, lips sneering, phone at his ear. Closed captioning AI deciphered. Tell her I'll toss the kids' pills down the sewer if she thinks she can skip rent and damages. My stomach pitched. Milo's backup bottle was a 2-week supply. Without it, titration would be a nightmare. I'd have to beg ER psychiatrists for an emergency refill, assuming they believed me. Luca's jaw tensed. He typed one line, held it out. He took the child's medicine? I nodded. He knows how much those cost out of pocket. The driver cleared his throat. Orders, sir. Luca's fingers danced. We retrieve medication and all remaining property. No police yet. Leverage first. The driver nodded as if accustomed to late-night vengeance missions. He donned raincoat, earpiece flashing, and disappeared into the private elevator. I pressed fingers to my temples. Leverage. Luca, I don't want violence. He typed. No violence. Documentation. We will undo his cruelty legally. But you must rest. Rest. My body felt carved from melted wax, yet adrenaline buzzed under the fatigue. I opened my mouth to argue, but Luca pointed toward the second bedroom. Soft amber light glowed within, scent of chamomile drifting out. The mattress beckoned like a promise. I wavered. What about Milo's next dose? It's at 7 a.m. Luca walked to a sleek cabinet, opened a biometric lock. Inside, row upon row of medications, neatly labeled, samples, maybe. He withdrew a blister pack of the exact dosage and brand. Pharmacy on site for executives. We have supplies. Tears came again. Too many tonight. I palmed them away. You think of everything. He shrugged, cheeks coloring. Part of the job. I stepped into the guest room, legs quaking. City lights painted shifting constellations on the ceiling. I perched on the edge of the bed, silk sheets, somehow warm, and kicked off my soggy sneakers. For the first time in maybe a year, I let weight settle, ignored tomorrow. Through the half-open door I saw Luca pacing the living area, coordinating via phone, silent but commanding. Each gesture precise, like he'd learned leadership by necessity, not inheritance. As sleep dragged me under, one thought pulsed, generosity that large surely carried a price. But exhaustion argued back that sometimes the universe balances brutality with improbable grace. I decided to believe the latter for one night. In the dawn-gray hours, a vibration on my bedside table woke me. A tablet rested there, screen glowing with a single line of text from Luca. Your landlord wants his damages by noon. He doesn't realize the building's title is about to change hands. Sleep. We'll talk strategy after breakfast. Under the message pulsed a live video feed. Branson pacing, pill bottle still in hand, storm water at his ankles. The driver's silhouette lurked just beyond frame. I exhaled, a soft, shaky laugh that tasted like hope and dread in equal measure. The game had shifted, and whether I liked it or not, I was now playing. I woke to the taste of ozone and fear. Rain still drummed the penthouse windows in frantic Morse code, but dawn seeped thin and pewter grey around the blackout shades. For 2 minutes I floated in the silk comforter, pretending ordinary life might begin with coffee and cartoons. Then the night's memories jerked me full awake. Milo's forgotten pill bottle in Branson's pocket, Luca's text about changing hands, the driver already en route to Leverage. A mother can swallow a lot. Broken marriage, busted wrist, eviction at 2 a.m., but the idea of a landlord dangling my child's brain chemistry over a sewer grate? That lodged like a fishbone. I pictured the tiny white tablets dissolving in gutter water while Milo thrashed through withdrawal hallucinations, and all the warm penthouse luxury curdled to bile. Decision time. Stay here, safe, replace the meds from Luca's stash, let Branson rot in whatever snare sterling money spun. Or face him myself before he did worse. Pride almost bowed to pragmatism, until I imagined telling Milo why his backup bottle was gone. Maternal instinct bulldozed caution. I was going back. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Luca met me in the foyer, hoodie swapped for a charcoal raincoat, hair still damp from a shower. He read my expression and typed before I spoke. Driver retrieving evidence. You can rest. I shook my head. He has my kids' meds. I need to look him in the eye when we take them back. Luca's thumbs hovered, then. Understood. I'll accompany. Security will film. The final line came after a breath. Please don't try to protect me from danger. It's mutual. 5 minutes later we slid into a low black sedan stamped with the Vantage's crest. Courtesy car, the concierge said, like we were VIPs just popping out for croissants. Wipers beat the windshield. The city blurred into watery neon. I'd borrowed dry scrubs from the penthouse closet, but still felt like a trespasser, some nurse rat stowaway in polished leather seats. Luca watched the skyline recede, laser-focused, as though mentally rearranging real estate chess pieces. At the on-ramp the driver, same older man, name tag now revealed as Reynolds, handed back my rightfully smashed phone and a burner with Luca's number preloaded. Welcome to the team, Ms. Hart, he said, tone warm but clipped. The way soldiers greet new recruits. 20 minutes of hydroplaning and we were back among the sagging brick of Eastern Heights. My old building looked even meaner in daylight, graffiti bleeding rust streaks, gutters vomiting rainwater. Branson's pickup idled by the curb, hazard lights blinking orange like hungry eyes. Good. He was home, and awake. Reynolds eased to a stop half a block away. A second sedan we'd been shadowed by parked nose to tail, security detail with telephoto lenses already tracking upper windows. Luca typed. We enter. I film. Reynolds supervises. In event of violence, security intervenes. He lifted a thumb toward the GoPro button sewn into his lapel. For a flash I saw the boy he likely never got to be. Childhood traded for protocols and NDAs, but the resolve in his nod brooked no debate. We splashed up the stairwell to the laundry room, Branson's pet kingdom of late fees and passive-aggressive signage. Fluorescent tubes buzzed overhead, casting morgue pallor on cinderblock walls. The tang of bleach mixed with wet concrete mildew. Branson stood near the slop sink, damp hair matted, pajama plaid tucked into work boots. In his left fist, the amber pill bottle. Well, well, he drawled, swiveling as if expecting this encore. Thought my message was clear. Damages by noon or the kids' meds take a swim. My pulse jumped but I kept voice steady. That medication isn't a bargaining chip. Hand it over. He twirled the bottle above the drain, grinning. Rent's a bargain you chose to break, sweetheart. His breath reeked of stale beer and adrenaline. Now I add emotional distress. Let's start at $1,000. Behind me, Luca stepped into the doorway. Branson clocked the tailored raincoat, the silent phone filming, and snorted. You again? What's Mr. Mute gonna do? Mime me to death. Reynolds lingered at my shoulder, camera pen angled. I spoke calmly. Mr. Branson, this is extortion. Return the pills, and we walk away. Extortion. He barked a laugh. Lady, I own this building. I own your tenancy records, your mail, the air you breathe under this roof. Lease says I can charge fees for harboring strangers. That mouthy kid of yours, he jabbed the bottle toward Luca, counts. That mouthy kid, Reynolds said coolly, is Mr. Luca Sterling. Branson blinked. Sterling like those billboards. Luca typed, held up the phone. Hi. Branson scoffed, but the swagger slipped a notch. Cute prank. He returned focus to me. Tick-tock. You got the cash. No, I said, but I brought witnesses. I gestured to Luca's lapel, to the lens glinting like a black pearl. Branson's nostrils flared. From the corridor came the clack of polished shoes. A uniformed guard, building code enforcement insignia, not Luca's men, entered flanked by 2 clipboard carriers. He cleared his throat. Wallace Branson. We're executing an inspection order regarding multiple safety complaints and delinquent taxes. What the hell? Branson barked. You can't just barge in. Notice was posted last week, the officer said. You tore it down. He eyed the pill bottle. What's that? None of your damn business. Branson pocketed it, but fingers trembled. He lunged for the doorway. To flee or fight, I couldn't tell. Wet soles skidded on soapy puddle. His boot clipped the edge of an open dryer. The door slammed shut on nothing but metal, but Branson's momentum pitched him sideways. His temple cracked against the enamel with a cartoonish gong. He crumpled, knocking over a bucket of grey mop water that flooded the concrete like dirty tide. Silence held for half a heartbeat, then Branson groaned, one eye blinking. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. I exhaled shaky relief. No blood, thank God. Reynolds crouched, retrieved the pill bottle from Branson's limp fingers, offered it to me. Plastic felt sacred as newborn bones in my palm. The city officers stepped back, radios muttering. One called EMS. The other photographed OSHA sins, exposed wires, rusted sprinkler heads, black mold fanning under a dented bleach jug. Everything I'd lived with, but never documented. Blue lights strobed against basement windows. Patrol cars parked out front. Paramedics hustled in, loaded Branson onto a stretcher, though he protested groggily. As they wheeled past, he hissed at me. I'll bury you, bitch. Captain Hayes is my poker buddy. You'll see. I chewed the inside of my cheek. Old habit against panic. Police corruption wasn't new to Eastern Heights. Branson owning the precinct captain felt nauseatingly plausible. Outside, drizzle softened to a mist. 2 officers approached Reynolds and Luca. One gestured at the camera. What's this about recording? Documenting an inspection, Reynolds answered. Evidence of a landlord's illegal eviction and attempted extortion. Who authorized you? The taller cop's voice carried the arrogance of someone used to graft. Luca typed, then let the phone voice read aloud so no lip reader could misquote him. The owner of this property authorized me. Tall cop frowned. Branson owns this dump. Thanks, he typed. Then, slower. Pushed too hard. My fault. You just rearranged county housing policy, I murmured. Passing out is allowed. He offered a crooked smile. You pass out, you lose negotiation. After a breath he typed again, letting the phone read aloud. I test landlords by posing as low-status workers. Delivery driver, janitor, maintenance temp. Their treatment tells me whether stewardship is safe in their hands. I remembered the streaks of curry down his chin, the hunger hollowing his cheeks. You starved yourself? He shrugged as if malnutrition were a minor inconvenience. People reveal truth fastest to those they deem powerless. Reynolds returned carrying a leather folder. Luca waved him off, then passed the folder to me. Inside, a contract stamped Sterling Equities. Title: Director of Inclusive Housing Programs. Salary digits snaked across the page. More zeros than my brain could pass. My debt, Milo's therapy, overdue car registration. Gone in one signature. I swallowed. This feels like charity. Luca typed. Not charity. Partnership. You have expertise money can't buy. He hesitated, added, also honesty. Yes, men hurt people. Across the room Milo hummed, drawing circles on the couch leather. I pictured him living in buildings with sensory retreat rooms, weighted wall panels, soft color lights. Yet fear nipped, media scrutiny, boardrooms full of men who'd sneer at my thrift store shoes, trolls claiming I grifted a billionaire with curry. Luca watched doubt war across my face. He opened Milo's sketchpad, rescued from the curb, and handed a marker to my son. Draw home, he signed. Milo began, a tall building with a rainbow elevator spiraling outside like DNA. Big windows ringed by circles. Noise dampeners maybe. A garden on the roof where clouds kissed treetops. 2 stick figures, one labeled M for Mom, one L for Luca, both holding Dino between them. Above, he wrote Big Quiet House. The decision clicked. I looked at Luca. We retrofit Eastern Heights first, sensory-friendly units, clinic in the laundry room, art studio for kids. Non-negotiable. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. He grinned, boyish. The mogul mask slipped. Typed. Deal. We shook, my pulse steady for the first time in years. The press conference did not end so much as dissolve into side interviews. Local station WXCT grilled the housing commissioner on ignored complaints. A politics blogger live-streamed commentary about Gen Z philanthrocapitalism. In the middle of it, a tall woman with silver braids pushed through and handed me a card. Dina Patel, civil rights attorney. If anyone retaliates, call. Sensory discrimination is actionable. Those words, sensory discrimination, rang like a bell. All the times a restaurant asked us to leave because Milo's flapping disturbed patrons. All the teacher notes about disruptive noises. If this role meant rewriting those rules, maybe the spotlight was worth every tremor of stage fright. A columnist heckled Luca. Is this just guilt money from a rich boy's adventure cosplay? Luca's fingers signed faster than the phone could voice. Reynolds translated, empathy isn't cosplay, and he'll compare charitable ledgers with any employer here. Laughter rose. The columnist flushed deep red. Tenants from Eastern Heights arrived, alerted by social media. Mrs. Alvarez, whose water heater exploded last winter, pressed a rosary to Luca's bowed head. 2 teen brothers high-fived Milo when he peeked from under the blanket. An elderly veteran saluted me and said, about damn time somebody leveled the field. Their gratitude felt like a tide lifting every doubt. Upstairs, a PRA delivered draft front pages. Billionaire goes undercover, saves tenants. My picture beside Luca's. My name spelled correctly for once. The knot of imposter syndrome tightened. What happens when tomorrow's cycle needs a villain? I paced the corridor while Luca rested, mapping a counterattack against doubts. Step 1. Competence. I could learn budgets, zoning, tax credit financing. Step 2. Transparency. Weekly videos so tenants saw progress. Step 3. Community board with actual residents voting on renovations. The plan rooted, steadying me like med rounds once had on the pediatric ward. When Luca re-emerged, he carried 2 steaming mugs. Not coffee. Chamomile and lavender. He handed me one, gestured to the terrace. We sipped in silence, steam intertwining like yarn. Finally he typed, "World moves on rumor. We answer with results." I clicked my mug to his phone in a toast that felt half oath, half prayer. Reynolds opened double doors to the rooftop. Sunrise blazed molten gold across the skyline. We stepped out, silent billionaire, blanket-swaddled child with marker on his cheek, and me. Wind carried petrichor and city diesel in equal parts. From up here, traffic looked like blood cells pumping through arteries. The old complex was a brown smudge in distant blocks, soon to be gutted and reborn. I inhaled and let the view brand itself on memory. Not the heights of luxury but of perspective, a place from which to measure how far kindness could reach. Milo tugged my sleeve. "Mom, sky smells like new crayons." I laughed, a sound edged with tears but strong. "Yeah, baby," I said, lifting him so he could see farther. "It does." Luca leaned on the railing, hair tangling in wind, eyes closed as if horizon light could charge him like solar panels. Birds wheeled, sirens wailed below, but up here the noise felt distant, manageable, a symphony with a conductor at last. I tucked the contract folder under my arm. Paper inside seemed to hum with possibility. Fear still existed, but purpose pressed harder, a gentle hand at my back. "Ready to build big quiet houses?" I asked. Milo cheered, a wordless whoop flying into morning. Luca opened his eyes and nodded. Sunlight struck his lapel pin. The milk drop glinted like a promise. We turned toward the door, ready to begin. 3 months later, dawn arrived to the rattle of scaffolding instead of sirens. Where the Eastern Heights dumpster once blocked sunlight, a lattice of rebar clawed skyward, and cranes swung overhead like patient, mechanical herons hauling beams the color of custard. The neighborhood soundtrack had changed completely. Jackhammers chopped through the morning like sharp laughter, nail guns delivered staccato applause, and welders stitched blue-white constellations onto July clouds. From my office trailer, a converted shipping container that still smelled faintly of diesel, I watched the complex molt from ruin into possibility. I began every shift with a lap around the block in steel-toed boots that pinched my nurse-soft arches, greeting crews by name, handing out lavender-dyed earplugs so Milo would accept them later. By mid-September, half the electricians wore matching stickers that read "Ask me about sensory floors," explaining to visiting city officials why carpet patterns had to stay. Below 7 lines per square inch. Toolbox banter replaced eviction whispers. Hope, like ivy, found cracks and rooted. Inside, the lobby we once called the Mouth of Doom had been gutted to studs and reborn as a sun-drenched atrium. A living moss wall climbed 3 stories, irrigated by reclaimed grey water. Its scent was forest after rain. Color shift LEDs cycled through dawn palettes designed by an autistic graphic artist who swore peach reduced his migraines. At the center stood Milo's rainbow lift, a glass elevator wrapped in vinyl wings that shimmered when backlit. Every ride felt like ascending inside a bubble. Children squealed with glee, and not once did security shoo them away. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. My life now followed 2 relentless, harmonious rhythms. Stakeholder meetings by day, bedtime sensory stories by night. At 9 a.m., I lectured architects who knew load calculations but not the physics of meltdowns, explaining that a flickering exit sign could taste like pennies in my son's mouth. At noon I haggled with suppliers for soft touch panels and low VOC adhesive. By 3 I tracked grant expenditures penny by penny, and by 5 I chased city permits like butterflies impossible to net. By 6 I was home, temporary quarters in a Vantage sub-penthouse. Milo greeted me with Dino and a fresh drawing, cranes wearing party hats or bulldozers shaped like turtles. After dinner we curled on a beanbag, headphones sharing audiobooks. We sailed with pirates who spoke in measured decibels, rode dragons whose fire whooshed at safe frequencies. Therapy happened in those moments when the world sounded right. 2 weeks ago a miracle disguised as mundane happened. I was halfway through Dr. Seuss when Milo touched my wrist, frowned as though turning a heavy key inside his chest, and said, "Mom, our house is kind." 3 original words. My knees buckled. I sobbed so loudly the smart lights dimmed. Milo only smiled and repeated, "Kind," patting the beanbag as if to say, "Sit with me in this softness." Former tenants returned carrying everything from tamales to skepticism. Our first open forum, folding chairs under portable floodlights, gathered praise, complaints, and caution in equal measure. Wesley, a gaunt ex-machinist whose back rent had buried him, folded his arms. "Promises cost less than plaster," he rasped. I projected spreadsheets showing escrow accounts controlled by tenants, clawback clauses penalizing any sale within 15 years, and a veto-capable resident board. Numbers paired with stories, How Milo once slept in a bathtub during fireworks softened the crowd. Wesley signed up to lead tool lending. Parallel to construction, the courts wrote their own finale. Slumlord indicted on 27 counts of fraud blared across feeds. I clipped the headline, pinned it to the job site corkboard under things that no longer threaten US, and got back to work. Each Friday at dusk, Luca and I claimed the rooftop with mugs, rich coffee for me, chamomile for him, and watched clouds herd across a skyline no longer indifferent. Sometimes we spoke, sometimes just linked pinkies while silence stitched comfort between us. He once typed, "Every choice now asks, does this protect the child who fed me?" Some nights that vow sparked him alive, some nights it hollowed him out. I learned to swap coffee for valerian tea, to remind him that one company could not hold the sky alone. June burned into July and we raced inspectors. The inclusive playground replaced the dumpsters that once stank of rot. Children chalked hopscotch grids between tool piles. Local muralists painted goats in spacesuits, a nod to Milo's Space Rangers phase. Across the courtyard, a shipping container became a pop-up clinic stocked with risperidone samples. When the doors opened, I cried harder than during the press conference. We set grand reopening for the first Saturday of summer. The city donated a stage, businesses kicked in LED lanterns, and a non-profit lent bamboo fencing to hide last-minute paint jobs. Milo insisted we camp on site so he could be first down the spiral slide at dawn. Fireflies drifted like sparks from unseen welders. He fell asleep murmuring, "Tomorrow big quiet fly," pointing to the rainbow lift. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Mornings smelled of popcorn and fresh paint. Reporters returned, but this time asked kids to draw headlines rather than shove microphones. Wesley wore a volunteer badge he'd laminated himself. At 11:05 the mayor handed me gold scissors. I quoted Milo, "Our house is kind," and cut the ribbon. Confetti cannons puffed biodegradable rice paper skyward. Milo hooped as he slid arm-raised like a stuntman. Legal waves hadn't stopped rolling. 1 week after Branson's arrest, a deputy delivered a subpoena smelling of toner and intimidation. Superior Court, a limestone fortress, dwarfed my borrowed courage. Branson shuffled in wearing an off-the-rack suit so shiny it threw glare across the gallery. County lockup had scraped swagger from his posture, but not spite from his stare. Prosecutor Ortiz clicked through slides of flooded hallways, corroded gas lines, and the footage of him dangling Milo's medication. When my turn came, I stuck to facts: rain, eviction, a pill bottle in freefall. Defense counsel painted me as an opportunist chasing viral fame. Ortiz countered with the deed placing 51% ownership in a tenant trust. Jury deliberations took 17 hours. Guilty on 27 counts. Cameras flared, but the victory felt less like triumph and more like overdue maintenance on moral plumbing. Between court dates and design charrettes, imposter syndrome sprouted like mold. Headlines called me Slum Angel, a title that made my shoulders itch. I fought back with spreadsheets, percent recycled brick, resident votes logged, decibel reductions after acoustic baffles. Numbers became Kevlar. Yet some nights, after Milo slept and the penthouse fell tomb quiet, the whisper returned, "You're temporary." I texted Luca, "Tell me something true." Replies varied, a photo of the moss wall at midnight, glowing emerald with the caption "Still breathing," a graph of tenant utility savings, a gif of Dino stomping. Truth, small but sufficient, quieted the doubt. Grand opening sunset thickened anticipation like warm tar. Luca cranked a cherry-red lever. Milo tapped a remote. Neon bloomed. Sterling Haven. Everyone belongs in magenta letters tall as dreams. Gasps rippled. Silent fireworks. Greens blossoming into teal peonies. Purples cracking into silver lace. Followed. Milo covered his ears yet grinned wide. "Home bright," he whispered. A second surprise sentence. Tears blurred neon halos. Luca slipped beside me, offering lemonade so tart my jaw twitched. We clinked cups. Under the new sign's glow his other hand found mine. No kiss, just promise. Wesley approached, toasting with extra earplugs in his pocket. Guess plaster costs more than promises. Laughter dissolved years of suspicion. Crowd noise dwindled. I stepped to the mic. Besties, I began, nodding to subscribers who'd followed from despair to dawn. If one shared meal flipped an empire, imagine 1,000 daily acts of compassion. Feed someone, house someone, listen to someone. Then share the story. Let kindness be the algorithm we choose. Phones lifted. Streams launched. Moonlight replaced fireworks. Milo tugged me to the rainbow lift. We rode to the roof where city lights sprawled like a circuit board. Neon cast magenta halos on water towers. Everyone belongs, he read, another unscripted phrase. Luca squeezed my hand until bones creaked. We descended after midnight, soles crunching stray confetti. Milo slept on Luca's shoulder, blanket trailing like a flag of truce. I locked the clinic, moss wall lights dimming to moon mode. Our reflection, woman in dusty boots, boy billionaire with drool on his lapel, child washed in neon afterglow, looked imperfect and perfectly human. We headed home under streetlights that seemed gentle, each pool of amber promising that tomorrow could be softer and kinder. Hey lovelies, thanks so much for sticking around till the end. If you felt something, learned something, or just enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button. See you next time, bye.